Morning, everybody. My name is Ryan O'Connell. I flew in yesterday from New York, and I live in upstate New York in the capital region near Albany. Thank you. And when I was walking out of the airport, I don't know if you've noticed this too, they have a quote, "Nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come." And I thought that might be a little hyperbolic for a lightning talk and in this space, but I really kind of believe that. I thought it was sort of poignant. To be able to introduce my talk with that kind of quote just makes sense to me. I wanted to showcase the sort of brand of Farm the Church that I'm trying to build because I think it harkens back to the legacy of the Catholic worker, which has been a part of my own spiritual discernment and journey. This is reminiscent of like Rita Corbin's work, if you ever sort of followed the Catholic worker from decades ago or currently. It's created by an artist in California named Sarah Fuller. And I really love this idea of trying to continue on what Dorothy Day and Peter Morin really sort of understood, which is this idea of the agronomic university and bringing university to the farm and bringing the farm to the university and sort of trying to combine both of those spaces and concepts and what can come from that. So I've been working on this for the past few years. As we probably all know, COVID exposed a lot of fragility in our society and our culture related to supply chains, related to just sort of people being able to care for their families and themselves. And we kind of realized that we were sort of at the mercy of a lot of different forces that can be quite fragile if the conditions under which we live change. And so it made me kind of think, you know, what can I do? How can I understand the church's part to play in re-envisioning how we take care of each other in our society and in our community? At the time, I was actually working in organic farming in the Hudson Valley of New York State. I'm a social worker. I work in mission integration now for a Catholic health system in upstate New York, but I will say that my experience organic farming or farming sustainably really sort of was a life changer. I'm from Long Island originally, one long suburb, not a lot of farmland there. So when I got up to move to upstate New York, it really sort of changed my life, and I wanted to sort of figure out, okay, I love the church. You know, I love my identity as a Catholic, and I also think there's so much opportunity and untapped potential, not only with the young people who are really starving for a spiritual, you know, life, or maybe a stronger religious identity, but also just kind of what we can offer as church to sort of nourish that. So the vision of Farm the Church. What I really would love to see is the restoration of the church's relationship to society. Obviously, we can all agree that the church's relationship to our society and our modern world is very much wounded, understandably so, with the scandals and all of the other sort of changes that have happened in the last few decades. But I think this idea of restorative relationship to our natural world, to creation, can also bring about a restoration of the church's relationship with society. And I think exploring how that might happen is something certainly worthwhile. Promoting Pope Francis's view of integral ecology, he's done a great deal of pushing this kind of idea forward of, you know, we kind of thought about sort of back to the land movement as somewhat of a eccentric idea within Catholicism, even though certainly since the monastic period, understanding ora et labora, work and prayer, has always been kind of part of our religious consciousness. It's just been sort of marginalized for, you know, consciously or unconsciously. So we're sort of bringing that eccentric idea into the mainstream, the normative Catholic culture. Offer a deeper sacramental vision of creation. You know, this is something, again, that certainly already exists in our Catholic culture in the United States and around the world, but trying to bring that again more into the sort of mainstream Catholic culture, especially with younger folks. And then finally, create a pipeline from Catholic universities to farms across the United States. And that's something that I want to kind of touch on. There are tons and tons of projects already happening in the United States that do this kind of work. The Dominican sisters in particular are kind of way ahead of their time in terms of understanding their relationship to the natural world can bring about peace. It can bring about evangelization. And they've been doing this work on a small scale for decades. They have properties all over the country where they have transformed their land into organic farm projects, sustainable land use. So 3 sort of things I'm hoping Farm the Church is going to do. It's going to become a platform that connects and showcases the existing national network of projects that utilizes sustainable practices and integrates deep Christian spirituality via authentic stewardship. So, like I said, that's happening. It's been happening really since the Catholic worker movement, if not beforehand. There are dozens of these projects from New York State to Florida to Wisconsin, California, but they're sort of, if you don't know about them, they're hard to find if you're not really looking for them. So I'm trying to create a platform where we'll be able to showcase all these projects that are already happening and how you might become involved, and really kind of hoping that the partnerships we build with these existing projects will lead to more projects. So we want to showcase the platform, showcase the projects that already exist, and then create a pipeline to bring more people into those projects from Catholic universities. So I'm a former Jesuit volunteer. I don't know if anybody else was in the Jesuit Volunteer Corps or Peace Corps or anything like that. But when you're graduating college, especially depending on where you go, you find out about these experiences or these opportunities that you can apply to. And I went to Fordham University in New York City, and many people in my graduating class applied to these programs. And a program like Jesuit Volunteer Corps is heavily utilized by Jesuit college alumni. And so it's thinking about a similar sort of idea, creating a program where people can graduate from college, enter into an apprenticeship at one of these pre-existing projects around the country, learn the skills of organic farming, learn the skills of sustainable land use, and also deepen your own spirituality by living at this location, by understanding their own philosophy of why they do what they do, and how you can also bring that to your own community. And the third sort of step of the program will be, with hopefully within 3 to 5 years, becoming an incubator with church and institutional leaders. So whether that's retreat centers, whether that's parishes that have underutilized property in urban or rural contexts, and are trying to figure out what to do with it, becoming sort of an incubator for new projects. We'll have a larger crop of people who are able to do organic farming, and then we want to put them into communities that really kind of need either access to fresh food, nutritious food. I live in Albany, and our whole region, actually, there's 3 cities, Schenectady, Troy, and Albany. The whole region is food insecure. You know, it's not necessarily a food desert in all of these places, but certainly the city of Albany, the capital of New York State, is a food desert, which is a sad but fascinating reality. So to be able to kind of make an impact in that regard as well is the future, I think, of this project, Farm the Church. Hopefully, we can have people who are re-engaging with their faith through these organic farm projects. I know for me, it was something that really sort of changed my understanding, my relationship with the creation, myself in that sort of dynamic. It really kind of did wonders for my own personal spirituality and my own Catholic faith. So I'm hoping to be able to kind of pass that on to many young people, most people my age, not necessarily darkening the doors of the church, but they are certainly interested in things like sustainability, certainly interested in things like organic agriculture. So that's the goal. I know I'm pretty much out of time, so I appreciate it. I'm going to leave a bunch of business cards with my email address, the website of the organization on this back table here. I would love to hear from anybody who's interested in how to partner with me going forward, and hopefully we can do this work together. Okay? Thank you very much.